What are encaustics? Won't they melt? How do you make these? I get asked the same 3 questions over and over again. So in this video, I'm going to explain how I answer those questions and others. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm Joel Anderson of Joel Anderson Art. I put out new videos every week with tips for the artist entrepreneurs doing it all themselves. So if people are asking you questions about your artwork, that's a good thing. They're interested and it's a chance for engagement. So how I answer the questions people are always asking me all the time, being an encaustic artist, here's how it goes. So first question usually is, what is encaustic? So I explained briefly that it's beeswax mixed with damar resin, which hardens it up. I emphasize hardens it up all the time. Then I go on briefly to explain it's an ancient medium the Greeks and Egyptians did centuries ago, and in my particular case I like to mix modern digital elements with the ancient medium, so old and new, smooth and rough, abstract and figurative together, so I like to play with opposites in the same piece. Question 2. I live in Houston, so it can get hot here, and almost the second thing guaranteed is, won't they melt? So here I try and combine assurance with, honesty. So here I go on to say that the damar resin component, raises the melting temperature to about, 150, 170 degrees. And I say, with humor, if your house is 150 degrees, you have more serious problems than my artwork melting on you. But that being said, you need to follow some practical guidance. So, number 1, I say, like your children, don't leave them in your car in the summer. And then the second point, like all other artwork, I say, it's best to keep them out of direct sunlight. All right, the third question I get asked most frequently is how I make the pieces. So here again, I like to keep it sort of brief, but explain that, I work off a pancake griddle, everything's molten. I use a brush to brush it on, plywood or hardwood, and then use a blowtorch to kind of fuse the layers together. Sometimes I go for a little more zing, and I'll say, with some pieces I do shellac burn, so that's kind of fun to describe and say that, I will coat the top with shellac and then light the whole thing on fire to kind of give the crinkly abstract effect. So that usually, opens their eyes and gives them a little smile. So try that. And I have a couple bonus questions and answers. So one, I think, is for their benefit. I need to move it. How do I protect it? So here I explain to use glycine paper or parchment paper first on top, touching the encaustic, and then to wrap it with bubble wrap with the flat side facing down on top of the piece. And then lastly, it's not as shiny as it used to be. And here I explain the periodic buffing with an old t-shirt or a lint-free cloth is best, particularly in the cooler temperatures, to kind of get rid of the bloom from the beeswax. I don't go into that detail, but kind of like a car that's waxed, you can just kind of buff it up again. That's what I say. I also have these frequently asked questions printed out, just kind of a piece of paper, and put in a frame I got from Amazon. So if I get tired of answering the questions, there's a lot of people, or they just may not want to ask me, I just point them over here. I usually have this on the wall in my studio or down in the bottom corner of my booth, so not taking the place of any art. And then I also have a second sheet with telling them I accept credit cards and all my social media handles and stuff. So, oops, I need to add in the YouTube channel, don't I? So that's a quick question and answer on encaustics, and I hope if you're another artist with a different medium, acrylics or oils, you can kind of follow a little bit of the same process, develop some answers to the questions that people are asking all the time, and maybe have a little cheat sheet in your booth as well for the inquisitive potential customers. In the description below, I have a link to my frequently asked questions I have on my website, so you can look that over and take parts of that if you like. So how about you? Do you get asked the same questions all the time? How do you answer them? Put them in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up if you would. And if you want weekly videos on tips for artists and entrepreneurs doing it all themselves, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you.